Good evening, welcome back. This is again the Student StarCraft AI tournament with a couple of good games this week while we're all waiting for some of the larger tournaments to unfold, and we did have quite some updates after the submission deadlines for IDE, so that's very interesting. And of course we'll start out with a good game, because all the games are good these days. It's very rare to see any bad games with the most of the bad bots deactivated. We've got Cherry Pie AI before it, well, got deactivated basically, and there is a drone going to town on the town hall, which will take a while probably, as Banana Brain is going for a Forge Fast Expand, and I think you can pass through here with larger units as well. Meanwhile, half of the shields of the Nexus have been taken off, and Cherry Pie is going for a large number of hatches. Wow, that's very interesting to see. Look at the worker count. It's nearly at the same level as Banana Brain, and Banana Brain is waiting for the Nexus to actually take damage. But here comes a Zealot, and that will chase away. If not, straight out kill. Yeah, there it goes, the drone. So, first blood on the side of Banana Brain, and now we've got two Zealots and a cannon for backup, and might be just as well, because if you look at the worker count of Cherry Pie, it's 23, which is rather high, and of course the worker count can be maintained even with it adding some Zerglings, because there are a lot of hatches and wow, lots of buildings coming up, and this is kind of strange. The drone balancing situation is getting out of hand a little bit. We've got a nice few Zerglings coming up, and it looks like Cherry Pie is going to scout for more or not, or I don't know if there are bases to be found. But worker count 28, very respectable, and now the Zerglings, ooh, one of them gets killed, are certainly not going to want to mess with this. And here comes a StarGate with, I think, a Corsair, which is excellent because most Zergs have got the crappiest anti-air defenses, and Cherry Pie has got it, but the Hydras are a little bit stuck, and this Corsair is stuck as well, so I don't know. Strange things going on all around the map, and the worker transferring by Cherry Pie leaves. Oh, and now the third Hydra gets to kill the Corsair. Poor Corsair. There is another one. Oh, there are another two. And Banana Brain's Corsair Micro could be a little bit better. And of course, if you have got an Evo, please do yourself the favor and make a Spore, just so you don't need to keep Hydras at home for protective purposes. That said, this is not going all that well. There is no third base for Banana Brain yet, and there is a fourth base for Cherry Pie coming up, so this might get interesting. Small peek at the upgrades. Oh, this Hydra has been pushed over here. That's not good at all. +1 for Protoss is done, so these Zerglings will need to have the +1 armor, and you can see why this is going. A line of Zealots with a couple of Dragoons for backup will make short work of these poor hapless Zerglings. Meanwhile, fourth base not yet up, and once the pressure is off a little bit, Banana Brain will take that third base. Now there are Mutas, and Mutas are not the most effective Corsair killers, but the Corsairs aren't all that effective either, so I think the Mutas are doing pretty well, and the Goons, they take a bit of a pounding, but Cherry Pie is really rather vulnerable with only one sunken and no lurkers. The fourth base is up, some workers being transferred, but this blow might just be too much. But there are Mutas in the main base killing a lot of probes, so if Cherry Pie somehow can hold over here, which it doesn't look like at the moment. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. All the Mutas have been brought back, and the third base is up for Banana Brain. And now the Muta count is really rather low, it's only 5. And the Protoss army is doing a lot of damage to the Zerg infrastructure. Cherry Pie has got a number of workers, but it's really not enough, and versus a concerted gateway push like this, you are going to need lurkers or superior numbers. And Cherry Pie looks like just try and get away with far too few workers. Combat units, worker count was okay earlier. And now Banana Brain is all over the map. And this is the GG. Cherry Pie trying to bring it back with this so far hidden base, but it will not take long for Protoss to find that. And there you go. So, yeah, that's the GG. It will be interesting to see if we are going to see another update from Cherry Pie. It's all been very hush-hush, so I wouldn't count on it. But for the time being, yeah, there we go. So, next game up was a recommendation from the Basil ladder. And that makes me very happy because it's got a replay of Crazio. And Crazio Terran is still playing there and also received an update recently. So I think what I was talking about 3 weeks ago, because Shonko did the 2 games in between, was that it would be really rather good to have Crazio contending for the prizes again. But he's been rather reclusive, and I should try and find out why, because it's such a monsterful bot. SimCity, precluding any scouting information, is done with 2 depots and a barracks. The scouting drone cannot get in, and unfortunately the 3 SCVs can't get back either, so that's not good. I think with 2 Marines in there you might lift the barracks and get those 3 SCVs back to mining, because it is about a fifth of your total workforce, and that is something that cannot be efficient to leave outside on the map, especially since the scouting drone has headed back to base. And Crazio, what are you now going to do? Going for an academy. Oh dear, and another depot, even though, no, well, not really over supplied. Oh, look at that, Purple Swarm, beautiful wall off with the Zerglings. And now going to have some of Crazio's defenses, and perhaps these SCVs might get killed. That would actually be good for Crazio, because they're not doing anything useful outside of the base anyway. And Crazio looks like is preparing for a neuter defense and some kind of marine push, but the barracks is really rather quiet. And it looks like Purple Swarm is here with the neuters. How many have we got? We've got about 5, and with, yeah, that didn't went. Oh dear, that went well. So right now it's 4 muters and 5 turrets. So, and with SCVs 4 repair, and now even some marines are sent back, and only with 1 barrack. So Crazio's really trying to do this with 8 marines, trying to wither the storm. And the muters are not even strong enough to handle about 4 or 5 marines. That's not good at all. You should wait until you have a little bit more. The gate is now lifted, and I wonder who is going to, or which building is going to produce combat units for Crazio right now. Crazio hasn't got the most money anyway, but still I think that floating your only production building is, not to put too fine a point on it, really rather reckless. I don't know where it's going. It's going to land and then build some units. But now the muter cloud is about 9, and the SCVs and the marines are suffering heavily because there is no turret cover, and this barracks is over here. So that's not good at all, and here comes a rather large swath of Zerglings. Meanwhile, 3rd base up and running, and the bunker is here in full force. The muters are over it, but I think the marines with the bunker and the turret are doing quite well, but this kind of gap is just not worth it, and there are only 9 muters, so the muter count isn't really growing, and Purple Swarm would be well advised to try and target some other sources, perhaps try and clip some workers around the back over here. And now they're just camping the barracks, which is good because it's still the only barracks. Oh, we've got a factory now, but it's not building anything, so that's not really going all that well. And it's a bit of a stalemate, really. These are trying to kill, oh, actually killing this worker, but taking a lot of damage. And what the hell are these overlords coming to do? This marine's really rather brave and rather dead. And Crazio has got a marine count of about 5. That's rubbish. And now there is a 4th base on the make for Purple Swarm. And Crazio now with a Goliath. And that is dead, but it does trigger the muters to fly over the turrets. And that was sort of worth it, I feel, for Crazio. Now with 4 marines, 1 Goliath is Crazio going to be in a little bit better shape. The Muta, the Overlords are also trying to do damage or something. I don't really know how or why. As there are so many turrets and a couple of Goliaths coming up, have they got range? Soon to have range, and with a couple of turrets it's going to be okay, and Purple Swarm is just doing the most ineffective harass ever. We are going to have probably sometime a science facility and another factory, but turret cover is not really good. It's a two-base situation, and now the Marine count and the Goliath count is at a high enough level to worry the Mutas. The thing that Crazio should be worried about is that now Purple Swarm is on Hive Tech, starting its fifth base already completed, and although the Muta threat is not going to be all that threatening anymore, there are Ultras out, and quite a lot of them. One is even stuck. They have got the armor upgrade nearly done, they've got the +1 armor, no attack, but we've got Cracklings. And Crazio is still trying to pull this off from a two-base perspective with the main, no, not really getting low, but the Ultras are so tough. They have got the armor and they will have the speed soon too, and they can take it quite a pounding, but Purple Swarm doesn't really have a plan of how to get into the base, just trying to plow Mutas and the Ultras into a tight choke, and I don't really feel that it's going to be worth it. Now, Purple Swarm's Muta tactics are questionable as well, as these Mutas are trying to do too much on their own and die in really gnarly numbers. In the third base for Crazio, we've got Speed Overlords, but they haven't got any units in them. Now there is an Ultra and a Muta harassing this base, but the Ultra thinks the better of it, and the other one as well. It's pretty low, but you can see with, oh, that's going to be the sixth base for Purple Swarm. Crazio will have a bit of a doozy on its hands if it can't get its third up. Oh, the third is here. There is an Ultra going to town on it, and it's being pulled back, so for some reason I think that Purple Swarm squad movement management could be a little bit better. I like that, a populated bunker. Oh, and Crazio cancels the command center, that's interesting. Meanwhile, in other news, there are some Vultures out on the prowl, killing some Zerglings. I think that's good. No sixth base yet for Purple Swarm. And Crazio trying to take another base over here. Nice irradiated Ultra. There is a tank out, and while Purple Swarm has got a good number of units, it just can't seem to get its game together because there are units all over the place, but they are not really attacking in any kind of concerted fashion. This base is sort of given up. Muta, and it's just a bit of skirmishing going on all around the map. Worker count for Crazio is 60, and Purple Swarm is really rather low. Ooh, that Ultra got irradiated, mopping up some Zerglings, or damaging some Zerglings. And Purple Swarm is just going to try again, and just not regarding what is there, just wading in and out of the fire. And yeah, that will produce predictable results. Now, Crazio is having some issues with the third base, and oh, this Ultra just gets out with a sliver of life left. That's just really expensive. The science vessels are all over it, and not really, oh dear, the Muta, the only unit which can actually kill the science vessels, gets itself killed on the irradiated Ultras. That's so hilarious. And Crazio looks like it will actually get up a third base. Hurrah! Now, no sixth base by Purple Swarm. Worker count increasing slowly, but Crazio's army count is getting better and better as well. So, oh, this irradiated Ultra is doing so much damage, but with about 6 tanks behind that, one Ultra is really rather a forlorn case. And Purple Swarm is trying with some Scourge, but as I said, Crazio just got its stuff together a lot better than Purple Swarm has at this point. Might bring some SCVs for all the tanks though. There are no lurkers, there is no swarm. Is there swarm? Oh, the Ultra Cavern is over here, so the Defiler Mount might be as well. Worker count for Purple Swarm's really rather low, that's because the Natural's being overrun, and Crazio seems to be in Death Ball mode. If we take a look at the upgrades, Crazio is not really ahead by any means. It's trying to do, or doing actually, a hybrid bio and mech style, which is pretty effective, but was rather vulnerable in the early mid-game. And had Purple Swarm had any better Muta Harass, Crazio might be dead. Might have been dead a long time ago, but now it looks like Crazio is taking the game into its iron fist and now taking more bases, and you can see the map being blanketed with units, with mines, and yeah, oh, there is an SCV here as well for the tanks, that's good. Speeding it up a notch, because this will only take so long for Crazio to find all these bases and mop them up. And taking down multiple bases at once, so Purple Swarm, nice try, but not really good enough. And let's see if Dan Gant can pull off a, the Lone Hive. That's crazy, oh, there is the army. Dan Gant can actually pull off a beautiful update to make Crazio's life a little bit more bitter. So now we have got Purple Destiny and playing the Zerg, so Purple Swarm again, this was a recommendation. And let's see how this is going to play out. So, Scouting Probe sees everything, Scouting Drone as well. Ooh, I like this map, Colosseum 2. We don't have that on the Student StarCraft ladder. This is, I think, going to be... oh, no. Not going to be a kill on the drone with the assimilator. Meanwhile, second gate coming up, we have got the cyber core, we haven't got range, but I like that with the neutral sunken, just to prevent any kind of bunker rush, things like that. Ooh, and the Zergans are doing quite well actually, that's pretty impressive. There is only one Zealot, and the workers have been coming to come off the line to help them deal with the Zergling harass. More Zergans are on the way, so this looks like a bit of a committed thing, but there is a Corsair killing the Overlord, and that's... ooh, there is only one Zealot though, one Zergling dies, and now it is workers. The workers are going down to the Zerglings, that's not good at all, but it looks like this Corsair has got the supply situation for Zerg well under control, and Zerg is now majorly supply blocked, and will have to build Overlords at a record speed just to stay in this game. Meanwhile, trying to attack at the same time, work count is really okay for Zerg, but... oh, an Overlord just got out. Oh no, there are just two in the main base, and the Corsair is going off on a wandering mission. But at least Banana Brain stabilized and has got, well, the main secured. Two cannons, I do feel they could have been set up rather more in advance to help them deal with that, but against the Muta Harass, which might come, it would be good. Oh, and there is a Corsair, and it gets the first hit in on the... ooh, the Scourge got the Corsair, I meant to say. And it looks like all these bots expect Purple Zerg to do some kind of Muta play. Here come the Scourge and the Muta taking way too much damage again. But at least keeping the Corsair numbers down. More Scourge coming. But in the end you are going to need Mutas, and the hatch count is really rather low for Purple Destiny. And right now it's going to be a really tight game for map dominance. Note that Banana Rain hasn't got a second Nexus yet. Ooh, and the Scourge are really on top of this Corsair situation. That's really good. The Mutas though are still pretty bad. The count is only 4, and they should just stay the hell away from these goons until there are about 9 of them. Because right now they're just going to take damage, and that's not good at all. There are now 5 Mutas, but the micro leaves just much to be desired, and I like this third base. I think it's surely not going to be a fourth or double expand at this point. It's really rather ballsy. The Mutas are trying to do everything, but they are so loosely grouped and taking a lot of fire from Corsairs, cannons and goons alike. That said, the goon count is going to be severely depressed, and the Mutas are now all over it, even though they are badly damaged. Oh, and there are 9 of them now, so that's pretty good. With the turrets, I think the Muta count is getting rather low, but there is just no anti-air left for Banana Brain. That is really rather interesting. And the Zealots, they should go for a counter push, try and do some damage, but ooh, now the cannons in the main are going to go down. How many Mutas have we got left? We've got 8. And Banana Brain is making Zealots still, even though it still has 13, and death is clearly not coming from the ground, but coming from above. And with a Corsair and a Goon and another Goon and a Cannon, the Muta threat is just about to be cleaned up. Third base is not populated, so I think with the Natural up and running, that Banana Brain is coming out ahead here, and Purple Destiny is now for a wiser move going after the workers over here. But still, what's it making? Just Zerglings and Mutas, and it should squeeze in a couple of workers here and there. Meanwhile, the Mutas are doing okay, but they are so what this lone Muta is doing, just dying to this Goon over there. And so much damage taken by the Mutas. The Corsairs are not on this map anymore, so that's a win for Zerg, but the Mutas could be, well, they are pretty effective. I must take that back. Look at the damage they do to the Goons, to the Corsairs, and killing off a lot of workers as well. But still, it's just all combat units, and Purple Destiny is trying to break Banana Brain, and if it fails, if it should fail, Banana Brain has got a two-base situation. If Banana Brain were to stabilize with these cannons over here, with the Corsairs, with the Goons, but now so many workers are going down, and even though Banana Brain has got two Nexuses, right now it's worker production and no combat unit production, and still making Zealots. It's really beyond me why at a point where you're being gutted by... Oh, that was a night run by, I totally missed that. And Zealots being put to good use and decimating the workers in the main and the Natural, and oh, they might have killed the lair as well. And now Purple Destiny with 3 workers at the hidden third base is in an awful position, because right now it's got a fair number of Mutas. It's got 13. And it will need to do damage right now, and quite a lot of it, because it's going to lose the lane again. And oh, these Zealots, they had better suicide themselves to kill another couple of workers. Worker count for Purple Destiny right now is 5. That's not an awful lot. Still 30 Mutas. And Purple Destiny is so lucky that these Mutas can stave off the... Oh, look at that. The main is mined out. And still, is it going to be Purple Destiny with just this remnant of 12 Mutas, 30 Mutas? And... I heard one die, 12 Mutas, and no anti-air, 10 Mutas, and no anti-air at all for Purple Destiny, trying to throw up a hasty cannon, but I don't think this is going to work. And meanwhile, I think Purple Destiny is going to be able to make a lot of workers, is going to rebuild the spawning pool, because that was lost as well. Where is it? Oh, here at the hidden third. I think that's a good place as any. And now it's just Mutas doing the rounds. We've got 9 left, 1 died to the cannon, but with the eco situation for Banana Brain as it is, there was a pretty decent game. Pretty scrappy, high stakes, low gains from both players, but in the end it was the Muta count which just, and the Muta production has resumed. Now with 12 versus 2 workers and absolutely no income for Banana Brain, I can only see this game going one direction, and that was exactly what Banana Brain needed to do with the Zealots do a run by. Could have committed a little more, just killed the lair and killed the Natural as well. They had the staying power for that. Right now this game is over. And oh yeah, I was going to let me load the next game and do it a little bit slowly. It's Better Star versus Violet Lily. 2 new Protoss, and well, I really like to plug the Basil ladder because it's awesome, and it's got a ranking which, excluding voting, is a little bit more reliable than the student StarCraft ladder at this point. On top, no surprises, it's the cutest. It's really dishing out the damage everywhere. Behind that is Crazio with, well, almost 70 points lower. Win rate about the same. And then Purple Wave, Better Star, Banana Brain, Darchin, Iron and Hao Pan, the Unholy Twin, then McRae, Violet Lady, Crazy Protoss, and then the first Zerg. A couple of random players, Team Hammer, Proxy, Killabot, Triple CK, and Tiga doing quite well as well. Dragon in there, Purple Spirit, TSMU, Andrew Smith doing great, B-riva, and basically then the rest. And it's such a lot of bots. A lot of them are not active. Yeah, well, they appear to be the same bots which are active. Oh, these are the disabled ones. That's really that's really a pity, because Zeta and Cherry Pie, I'd like to see development on those continue. And yeah, that's Garmbot deactivated as well. That's but these two would really be a great addition to the scene. I wanted to show you something else. Oh yeah, the AWIDE submissions, which are quite interesting as well. We got a new bot, never heard of it. We'll see how that's going to pan out. Banana Brain, Bunker Boxer, Lane should give something away. The cutest and its evil twin Darchin, McRave, Microwave, Purple Wave. So fielding Protoss, not the Zerg, although the Zerg was pretty good. Steamhammer, Stormbreaker, and then the new bot, Xiao Yi. Doesn't say much to me. Ironbot, Triple ZK, University of Alberta. And then the dropouts. Apollo, don't know it. CD bot, don't know it. Dragon, the TCMU's adaptation of Cherry Pie. We're going to miss that. And Leaderbot, we'll miss that too. Metabot, of course, doing great. And Last Order by Sijashu could have been interesting. We are never going to know. And Seda from the Samsung AI team. And of course, there is no Cherry Pie in there, so that's a bit of a pity. But still, the field is pretty stacked, but it's just so much of a pity to see all the big guns dropping out. Seda from Samsung, Cherry Pie from Facebook, Crazier not there, and TCMU sort of not being in there either. It's just so... I don't know why that is. It's might be so good to have all of them just participating for fun, and it's... But until I've found out why that is, I'm not going to say too much about that. So, build with the Virgins. We've got Battlestar with the thingy, the Cyber Core, and then we've got Violet Lily with the 2-gate, and behind that probably is going to be ooh, and Battlestar is going to have to micro pretty hard. There is a goon coming out soon. Some workers are dying. That is not the worst, because if you can get a couple of goons up, but now it's 5. Oh, it's already... Yeah, you can see how effective 2 goons are in a situation like that. It's now 2 goons versus 2 zealots, and the micro dance is going on. So that's a bit of a 2-gate issue stamped into the ground. Battlestar did lose 2 workers, so I think that's some kind of a win for Battlestar. But now Violet Lily has to be really rather careful how it spends its next few zealots, because if these dragoons found their way up to the base of Violet, ooh, and Violet, look at that, is going to be a citadel, and behind that probably a Templar Archives. Will there be any kind of detection? Well, there is a forge, so we might have a cannon, but it's now 4 gates, a forge, and a spinning core, which means a pretty committed goon push. And there is a handful of zealots by Violet Lily, and it's still got a few, so that's not the worst unit to have. Small peak, yeah, Templar Archives coming right up, and this might spell the doom of Battlestar if there is not going to be any detection. Meanwhile, Battlestar is banking hard on the goons, going to speed it up just a tiny little notch, because now there is battle waging at the ramp of Violet Lilies. And Violet Lily at this point is just buying time. The Archives is ready, and now I would expect a Dark Templar. And the goons, up until that time, until that Templar is ready, have got free range and can kill a lot of zealots. And now there is a Nexus, so a pylon with 2 cannons over there might not go amiss. But right now it's going to be a Dark Templar, and all the goons, they go back record speed, just trying to save their hides. But what will be done about? Surely are not going to that's not a Robobay, yeah, it's a Robobay, but that's going to be really rather late, although it's only 1 Dark Templar, and that's not really the most, but there are more coming in. There are 3 Dark Templars now, and the Zealots were being able to push back the goons against the wall with help of the Dark Templars are going to be in a good position. And that is such a silly thing to do. If you have got a forge, why on earth would you try and go for a Robobay and an Observatory after that? You've now got 3 Dark Templars in your midst, And yeah, that's nice to build an observatory, but the Dark Templars know exactly where the threat is going to come from, and they kill the Robo Bay. So yeah, there you go. And right now, you're with your back against the wall. You've got 3 angry Dark Templars in your base, and all it would have taken was to build a pylon and 2 or 3 cannons. You would have been golden because you had, until a minute ago, the upper hand in the goon count. But oh well. Here comes the Robo Bay again, but now so many goons and workers are falling. Is there an observer? No, there isn't. And the Robo Bay is going to get killed again, and still no cannons. Absolutely mysterious. Now Violet Lily is not going to make any more Dark Templar for some reason. It's just going to try and play a straight up game. And if you have a straight up game with Dark Templar in your enemy's base, which you cannot do anything about, that's pretty much that. And now the normal ground forces are reaching the red base of Battlestar as well, and that is, as they say, the game. Alright, then we are going into the last game of today. It's Steamhammer versus Martin Royackers. Bit of a well, an attempt to see if either of these players can take a swing at winning one of the titles coming up, available in the next few months. Martin Rogue's leaderboard. Martin won a lot of tournaments by cheese earlier, and it looks like that has been shut down really rather well, but then again, you should never underestimate Martin and his cheesy prowess. And Steamhammer is such a good bot, but I feel in the raw performance it's not really keeping up with the big guns. And right now it's going to be a small, not committed Zergling attack, and Leaderbot is really ready for it because it's got this barracks, and it's just going to make a lot of units. The bunker is full, another barracks coming up, and not like Crazio earlier, where Crazio didn't really produce all that many units. It's just going to be a lot of Marines, just to be on the safe side, and now going to move out. It's only 6 Zerglings, and although they need a little bit of time to get over here, I like this build order idea. It's just a very aggressive lurker push, but then you should hide your Hydras out of sight, and you can't really rely on the enemy not going for some kind of a push, because then you would lose your lurker eggs. And right now Leaderbot is throwing up a bunker, will have an eBay soon, and by that the ability to build turrets. And the academy is really rather late. With a comsat that might be a little bit easier. Oh, and the lurker is down. There are 2 lurkers now and a handful of Zerglings, and this is going to be bloody massacre. Are there any Marines in the bunker? It seems they are not, and the Marines are trying to kill the lurkers, but it's not going to work, and this is an incredible money drain on the Terran. Now with 3 lurkers, 4 lurkers, and right now you're in a hell of an amount of trouble. You should just retire to the high ground and not try to do something silly like this. Build a turret, build a bunker, and try to kill all the lurkers at the ramp. There are 4, and Steamhammer is now taking a bit of pressure off to get the natural up and running. And these Sunkens are in a bit of a fallback position, really. So you can lose your natural. Look at the money drain going on here. These 2 SCVs have got things under control, and with 3 barracks I think that Leaderbot can do okay still, but should not be wasting all that many units. And that is at this point exactly what's happening. This Marine is really rather dead, and you should just keep him on the high ground, build a comsat, try to get a science vessel for some even more durable detection. And you're okay. These 2 SCVs have things well under control, and now you're just throwing Marines and medics away. And it's just not going to work because you haven't got... Oh, here comes the comsat. So perhaps Leaderbot can... Okay, there is one. But it appears there is only 1 Marine in that bunker, and that's not good enough. Now the Marines are keeping their distance, which is good. And still this one's out of range. 1 SCV can repair for 2 SCVs can repair for 2 lurkers. That's looking good. And now some more Marines in that second bunker. I like that. And now it's waiting for the next comsat. Oh, there is a muta switch. So that's a very unorthodox build order. Lurker Rush into Muta Switch, and of course backing it up with a lot of bases, because there has been a lot of pressure on Litterbot, and Steamhammer is doing this quite well. One Lurker died, there are now 4 Lurkers again. I think that's good, but the next scan, is going to take a while. And the Muta count might continue to grow in the meanwhile. Will more Mutas be built? No, it's going to be hatches, and it's going to be workers. So Litterbot will have to break out. Oh, and look at the Lurker count, it's horrendous. Taking so many kills, and now the scan goes off. One Lurker dies. And the other one just doesn't die, and right now you could do so much with a science vessel, and I think perhaps that is what Litterbot is now trying to do. But these Lurkers, they are doing such a lot of damage. You should just let this bunker get killed. Now they have to wade in, and you've got them in range of the turret, but then you've got to actually kill the Lurkers, and that's not really one of the strengths of these Marines, it looks like. And right behind that, although Steamhammer is not really getting too much done with the limited amount of units committing to the fight, Litterbot is on its last legs. It's got one more. No, the scan just petered out. And right now you've got an 8 Lurker leapfrog coming up. And this is going to be the science vessel, which I know it's going to be the starboard first. So that will take an awful lot of time. And meanwhile, these Lurkers are going to shut everything down. The map is going to turn orange, and with Hive Tech already done and still building workers. Good God, that's 50 workers and hardly any combat units built. That's insane. Oh, we got an ultra cabin, so we're going to... Yeah, but there are so many Lurkers. And the Zerglings are in there, so... yeah, I can see this going wrong versus a good Terran or a good Protoss or a good Zerg. It's just a nice build, but it's a little bit slow and not adaptive. But this game is good, and if we are going to look at the chances of taking the title compared to these players, I think that Steamhammer has got the better cards. So, 3 more games coming up. What have we got? This one. It's now Crazio vs B-riva, and this again is from the Basel server. So yeah, we are going to see how this will play out. We saw Crazio play sort of bio-mech hybrid versus a Zerg. At the other end of the map we got B-riva, one of the better Protosses out there. And of course you can play bio-hybrid with a timing attack. But I think that mech play might be more reliable versus a Protoss. So B-riva going for 2 gates, not preventing the scout. SCVs is seeing everything, and we've got spinning forge. It even sees the spinning forge. Wonder how AI players deal with that, spinning forges and flashing buildings and things like that. If they can sort of see the status going. Oh, and can't prevent the command set from finishing. And Crazio hasn't got a thing in the world to stop this, even this 1 Dragoon. 2 Dragoons is going to be an absolute nightmare. Good thing that the 3rd Dragoon is stuck, and still Crazio is working on his bloody factory. Oh, the goons, they go back! No, they are completely not evaluating if they got the game won or anything like that. And Crazio perhaps will finish the bunker. The Marines are going to go in there, and 4 SCVs are going to try and repair that. And I think that B-riva just dropped the ball big time there. Could have overrun Crazio in a matter of seconds. And again, Crazio floating the barracks, only production unit, and is now making a tank. And looks like siege mode. So, oh, that is really versus a more dedicated Protoss. You might have lost the game just there and then. And now Crazio is stuck with 1 tank versus a lot of goons. Who have got range and some zealots. There is a vulture and a turret, but I really doubt that if Protoss decided to, and this tank is out of range. This is really unfortunate, and of course a bunker with 4 Marines and a lot of SCVs for repair are able to dishing out a lot of damage, but Crazio just getting by with a Really scrappy kind of an early game play, and now the natural's up for B-riva as well. Crazio is ahead in worker count, so that must be said. And the eBay is going for a scout. And again, the goons are going to come in, but now there are 3 siege tanks. Are they now in range? Yes, just barely. Crazio with a very defensive setup. One more building just landed over here to make some kind of a wall would be nice with a couple of tanks behind that, so you could just project your range of fire into these areas just to kill the first 3 or 4 goons before they even got a shot in. That would be absolutely grand. Crazio now scouting out the other bases and has found the hidden base of B-riva's. B-riva is reacting with a couple of goons to take care of the vulture, and forgetting the vulture as soon as it gets out of sight range. That's really... that could be better. Crazio trying to lure the goons into the spider mines. But by the bad memory of these goons, not really doing an awfully good job of it. And now Crazio is trying to push out on the map. Got some bases mined and will now try and push back the goons. The tank counts, you can hear it, I haven't really shown you, but it is really rather respectable. Oh, and the goons eating some mines as well. So that's something that Protoss players really ought not to do. Just to charge head on into a massive siege tanks. That's not going to be worth it at all. And still they keep doing that. This vulture sort of killed itself probably on the cannon. Now 2 cannons, this base is pretty secure. And the mines have been killed as well. So Crazio knows that there is a base over here but can't do too much about it. 3rd base is up and running and the tanks are going, surely they are going to inch their way onto the map. Building placement of Crazio, really rather interesting, but seems to be new, but okay. Nice bit of paths for big units with mines in between, so drops will be taken care of as well. And we've got a dropship with a Reaver. Yeah, good luck with that. Now the Reaver is dropshipless and yeah, trying to play tag with, or actually playing tag with, oh, this is the poorest Reaver, just left out in the wastelands with all the vultures running around it, and doing quite a good job at killing them, actually, it must be said. And it might actually make its way back home, back to freedom, back to Protoss land. The thing though is that there are going to be tanks which might siege and kill the thing in one fell blast. Storm coming up is okay, but then again the Zealots are lacking and you saw them retreating earlier, which sort of make this a complete rout for Protoss. A couple of tanks will die, but losing so many Zealots, Goons and Reavers is a sure way to lose the game. The Storm was nice, but there could have been more, and now Crazio is not with the greatest army out and about. No 4th base for Protoss yet. I think that's an emission 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's the 4th base, but could have built another one. And now Crazio. And Terran is really the only race which can still just walk straight at the enemy natural choke, siege it up with tanks, do a lot of damage, and get away with it and not lose too much of their own units. Some units, oh, that's a nice storm though. Zealots trying to do what they can. Reaver coming into range. The science vessel is a little bit far off. That's not good. The Reaver dies though, so that's... Matrix tank, that's pretty cool. And B-riva is trying to keep its natural choke not contained, but it's so very hard, producing units from all angles, and Crazio just doing so very well with the siege tanks, and this Reaver is wading in and out of danger, and it's just not going to be worth it. There are more tanks coming up from the rear, and you need to have Zealots positioned next to the tanks so you can kill them, and now it's just 2 tanks, 2 shots, and then that's 2 Reavers down the lane, and of course you kill the 2 tanks, but it's just not worth it. The enemy is doing so much damage. The Arbiters are a nice touch, but in the end, with a Corsair with a disruption web, that might be nice, but I feel that Crazio is going to go into full macro mode if it's not already in that position, and is going to push and kill these buildings. This is not the right place. They should have been built here, so you could have sent a relief force, but Building out in the open is just going to waste your resources because the tanks will just roll in, blast anything that's not purple, and that will be a very, very expensive planning thing for your buildings. You can see Crazio rolling now. It's got the map blanketed in mines. Good luck wading through all this. That's really insane. There are mines everywhere. And now the tanks are shelling the natural, not yet the Nexus, but they are shelling the natural Nexus. And although a storm goes off and a Reaver here and there, it's just A moving units at this point, and that is not going to save your Protoss hide from a mob of angry Terran siege tanks. Upgrade-wise, both players are okay with Crazio working on the 3-3 already. It's going to be an exquisitely insane damage fest on the side of Protoss, because these tanks will just do too much damage, and the production is all in the main. Protoss has got some money, but at this point it's just not worth it making it in the main. And even though you have got Arbiter cover, it's not going to keep you in there, because there are just way too many science vessels providing sensory assistance. So that's that. Now, the last recommendation, yeah, this is GG, by the way. Last recommendation of the week is Geobot versus Insanity. And, well, we know Geobot is not going to participate in the AWIDE, that's a pity, but it can still play a rather decent game of Zerg. And the same must be said for Insanity. Insanity is still being improved, and it's good to get some recommendation from it, because it's just so interesting to see the development. We've got the bunker, the SCV sort of sees everything, sees the factories, and now it's going to play really rather safe with the bunker over here. I like that, just not be too cocky. And I wonder what these Zerglings are trying to accomplish, except getting themselves killed. There is a Sunken though, and there is a really rather quick Alair it's called, and then we are getting a Spire. So probably 2 base Muta, 2 hatch Muta. And what kind of an upgrade are we going to see? We're going to see mines and tanks. And Insanity is trying to do a lot of just 1 base. I can't see the attraction in that, because you've only got to protect 1 base. And with the siege tank you can kill the Sunken, but you lose all your supporting units. And will these Sunkens give Geobot enough time to get the Mutas out? Probably, yes, there it goes. The tank desieges immediately, and now there is no anti-air whatsoever, and these tanks are going to die a brutal death being poked slowly by these 2 Mutas, and there will be more Mutas on the way. So Insanity had better shore up his air defenses right over here to make sure it gets the thing done. But right now it's only got this 1 bunker, and it's it's really rather dangerous. But the Mutas, they cannot really deal with a bunker as well as they would have done, and now they're all coming back. If you got your enemy in the ropes, you've just got to keep pounding him and not go back at all. This is so... oh dear God, this is quite beyond me. The Sunkens are back, the Mutas are on the prowl again, and the enemy is here. They know there is a tank force coming in right over here, but they are going for that 1 bunker they can't deal with, taking such a lot of damage, and then they're going back again, while there are vultures and tanks in your natural. Good God. This 1 tank with a sliver of health is just going to be left alone. Hello, Mr. Tank, enjoying yourself. Ooh, damaged Mutas over here, I like that, nice touch. But still, these Mutas are having such a difficult time with this bunker. And now with the Goliaths, they sort of die. But the Mutas are so bad against this bunker, it's hilarious. And they could have taken down the natural, they could have taken down the main nexus, but instead I think they have made it their life's mission to just lay down their lives, and perhaps they will get the bunker. If it's not repaired, it might burn down. Oh, and the SUV, just out of BMness, waits until there is only a sliver of health left before repairing it. Now there are more mutas coming up, and you can see the straight line between both players' naturals. It's just populated with tanks, vultures, and mutas, and God, they're going after the bunker again. That's so unfortunate. Now I think we are going to see... Oh, Broodling. Hello. Interesting. Broodling and Hydras, and will we have Queens as well? We haven't got Queens, but Broodling is being researched. And now a Hydra switch versus a drop which is not coming off the ground, and now 2 tanks are going to kill the Sunkens. Oh, and the Hydra's just going to stand there. Oh God. Oh dear, dear. This is the most suspicious Zerg play I've seen in a long, long time. And I wonder why you would make Broodling and then... Oh, 1 queen. 1 queen. Oh, 3 queens. That's really rather good. And now a 3rd base. But a 3rd base for Terran as well. So I think that Insanity will get things done despite its lack of air defense. There is a bit of an air force over here, and the vultures are tripping out over there. The tank is standing still, everything is running from 1 Hydra. I can't really imagine... Well, you would be... Oh, that's a lot of queens, good God. Oh, the Hydras are getting buried, so that's burrowed. Oh, and buried by these tanks, because they just kill them. Scan goes off, tank from the rear. Ooh, nice mine hit, lots of friendly fire over there. Oh, the queens are all... The queens are all over there! Oh no, they're all... Most of them are over here. Oh, and they sort of live, but the 2 Hydras sort of... Oh, here. That was... we got Irradiate versus Broodling. Oh God. This game is going completely insane. And right now we've got quite a number of queens, and if my eyes do not deceive me, we are having more queens as well. We will have the energy upgrade as well. No, we will have not. Because why should you? And the 3rd base is operational with a Sunken and 1 SCV mining. Oh, and a queen there as well. And I would say that there is at least 1 queen in there with enough energy to Broodling this stuff. Yes, it sort of happened. I just missed it because I'm bad. And all the Goliaths and all the tanks are going to get Broodling. And of course the Terran units, they haven't got any upgrades, but they can still pick off a couple of Broodlings because they are pretty weak. And right now even Vultures are going to get Broodling. This is completely insane. But Insanity is going to crank up the production, taking more bases. And yeah, the 3rd base, of course, of Gia is there. But oh, and the Broodling and the Hydras. This game is a really rather good combination, really. Queens and Hydras. Have they got the upgrades? They have got the range and the speed, but no weapons or armor upgrades. Lots of overlords being produced. And right after that, it's going to be a lot of infrastructure, some Hydras, a lot of workers. And the question is, what the hell, how many queens have we got? We've got 22 queens. Even with the atrocious rate at which they accumulate energy, that's going to be a lot of Broodlings. And it would be very costly to send... It's going to be... oh, I was hearing that. Yeah, they're in among the workers. Oh, and this SUV is rolling straight by, not going to start a base. Yes, it is going to start a base. This is absolutely insane. And the Broodlings are everywhere. And Insanity has got... What has it got? It's mining from all kinds of places, and this queen will probably die. Yes, there it goes. But this game is really insane. And this Wraith is defending against the Hydra, which doesn't even return fire. And this queen is just getting itself killed. Oh, and I heard a parasite going off. And now the Hydra force is on the move. And Insanity has got a really tiny army because everything is getting Broodling all the time, because we are having Still 22 queens. Good God, that's quite a lot. Now, oh, this base is actually Terran, but it's going to be torn down. Our radiator going off. Overlord's taking damage, but this Zerg army is really... Oh, now the base is found, but it's pouring straight into the natural. And even though this irradiated, whatever it was, did a lot of damage to the army. I like that trick, just burrowing things which are somehow damaged, to dig them up later once they are needed again. And I think I'm going to call the GG. And going into the last game, it is Crazio versus the cutest, and I'm going to spin up the speedometer a little bit because these early stages are not really all that interesting. We're going to see a gateway and a cyber core from the cutest. Crazio going for a wall. And the question is, and the question which never gets answered on our ladder because Crazio is not active there anymore with the Terran. How is Crazy going to deal with the goons? And a couple of goons and then a Nexus. That's good. But lots of damage being done to the workers. Now there is one tank. So one tank on high ground, nicely walled off ramp. I think Crazio has sort of held it. Now with 2 factories is in a good position to handle this game, you would say. But the natural is already active for Locutus, and that will mean a lot of goons. Oh, and the third's coming up as well. So Locutus is going into macro mode, while Crazio with 3 tanks on the low ground. The repair just barely in time. That is really ballsy, with 3 tanks and a handful of vultures trying to push back the immortal goons of Locutus. The rallies should be forthcoming immediately because 3 tanks over this entire distance, I fear, is not going to cut it. But the tank's doing a lot of damage from the rear, and Locutus might have just over-invested with this natural, this really rather quick third. And now there are 4 tanks. Where is the next tank coming from? Is Crazio making tanks? No, it is not. And Locutus is trying to make Dark Templars. That's a good choice, but now the tanks are in the natural choke, doing a lot of damage, and this is exactly the kind of play you need to challenge the immortal goons of Locutus. Now with 5 with repair, and where are the Dark Templars? Dark Templars, where are you? Just goons, but the archives is ready. Templar archives are there. So I don't think that Crazio does have a comp set and is storing energy. So these tanks are going to be able to do a lot of damage. It's only 5 of them, and Crazio is just reinforcing with vultures and the occasional tank from afar just to keep the supporting unit count up. And the SCVs are trying to repair everything, and now the tanks are going to be able to take control of the ramp, and that is going to be a very hard position for Locutus, even for Locutus to come back from. A couple of vultures of Crazio's taking a lot of damage, but the tanks from the rear just doing a murderous job on these poor goons. And it would be so good to see Locutus and Crazio go toe-to-toe in one of the big tournaments in a best of 5, best of 7, because as you can see here, the pressure is on Locutus now to find a solution for this tank play of Crazio's, because Crazio with the tanks, well, it's going to take a while to get up the ramp. Perhaps now some Dark Templars, a lot of Zealots though. Now Locutus is going in for the kill, but the vultures absorb it. A couple of tanks die, but now Crazio is safely established on top of the ramp. The Zealots do close the distance though, and doing such a lot of damage. Crazio, how much can you support with? No, that's no longer a 1 base, it's a 2 base situation. And the ramp management might be a little bit better, but right now all production is camped. And the goons, they can't even get a single shot off on a couple of vultures, but that's about it. And then they die, and now the production buildings are being shot to pieces. Locutus has got this base over here, but it's not. It doesn't look like it's going to work all that well. And Crazio with 2 bases in full production, with 1, 2, 3. Oh, and teching up as well. That's absolutely brilliant. Taking control of Locutus main. And how long has it been? You've seen Locutus main Trummer in ruins like this, because there was a Terran player good enough to actually make that happen. Now Crazio is trying to find where Locutus is hiding, scouting out all the bases, and Locutus is trying to restart. There is a lot of money in the bank, but it's not really going to work, looks like, and Crazio is only minutes away from finding it. The scouting algorithm could be... Yeah, I think now the base has been found, and You can see immediately the tanks converging upon the position, siege already, and with 2 gateways against the entire might of Crazio's army with 3 bases. Crazio is going to take a game off cutest. That is really very impressive. Hope to see Crazio back at the normal ladder again so we can watch more games of it. It is such a monster. And a last shout out to the Basil ladder, which is awesome as well and has got most of the big bots, including Crazio. So for now, I say thank you for watching. Cutest is leaving the game. I'll be leaving you as well, wishing you a good week, and of course Shanko will be with you again next week for his broadcast. Thank you for watching and goodbye.